Hello, and welcome to Plan-It Montgomery, the show that brings you the latest news on the Montgomery County Planning Department. I'm your host, Michael Brown. We have a great show lined up for you, focusing on design excellence, the latest master plans, and Planning Board Chair Casey Anderson's interview with a Montgomery County legend. All this and more in this edition of Plan-It Montgomery. The Montgomery County Planning Department's first annual Design Excellence Awards was held on October 22nd in downtown Silver Spring. The night, which was co-sponsored with the AIA Potomac Valley chapter, drew more than 200 people, including council members and planning board members, who were there to celebrate excellence in design. Our Bridget Sweetso has the story.
That's right. Members of the County Council and the Montgomery County Planning Board were on hand tonight to present architects of the best design in the county from the past 10 years. It's all part of the Montgomery County Planning Department's Design Excellence Initiative, which was on Spotlight here tonight.
It's a great event, and normally this is an event of architects, but with the planning department here and the celebration of planning excellence tonight, it's twice as big. It's just really been a wonderful evening.
I think it's long past due. I think it's a fantastic event that's long past due in Montgomery County for the reasons that I mentioned. There's lots of great architecture and development firms in the area. They just need to be asked and inspired to do great design. So I think it's a fantastic event. I applaud Montgomery County for doing it.
We're here to recognize excellence in design. It's very important that the built environment be pleasing, that it's something that we enjoy living among. We want to have an urban environment that doesn't overpower you, that makes you feel at home even when you're in a very dense built-up space.
Design excellence is important because unless we pay attention to design at the front end, the value that we create over the long term will be diminished, and the quality of the places that are left for the people who have to live there and work there or travel through a place is going to be diminished.
Well, we all have to work together in this county for buildings that make sense for our community. And I appreciate the work that these designers have done because it adds to the greatness and value of Montgomery County. We all have to be partners. What we put together in this county has to make sense for everybody.
This is one of the steps, I think, to get the community out there, to get the architecture community out there, get the developers and the council members, frankly, to all understand that design matters and quality design matters, physical design matters, and how we create our neighborhoods and communities.
Design excellence matters everywhere. It certainly should matter in Montgomery County because Montgomery County, with its demographics, there is a lot of potential resources here, and to produce the highest quality of architecture and urban design would seem to go hand in hand with the county's demographics.
I think it's great that the county make that effort. I know it's no small effort at all to make a significant statement that design is important, and I think this is a great way to do it. So I thought it was pleasing to see it. I thought it was wonderful to couple it with the Potomac Valley AIA Awards. So I was very impressed with the entire process, including the event tonight as a culmination.
We have a lot of other jurisdictions that we work with, AITC, AI Northern Virginia. But what this event really does is it really captures the essence of becoming a Maryland architect. Because if you can partner with and have design excellence and recognition with projects specific to a county or a town, that gives important, valuable assets to the architects.
This is really a great beginning for us to get the word out about design in Montgomery County. The county is pretty much built out there, and we're mostly looking at infill developments, redevelopment of things, and I think we can do better. And this is, as we move forward, as we see change, I'd like to be able to prioritize how we look at design and how we encourage the very best.
I think that we need to focus on what our environment looks like around us, what kind of character it has, what are the special things that make it the kind of place that it is, and how do we strengthen those, how do we accentuate those. Design is a big part of placemaking. So if you want Silver Spring to look and feel one way, and you want Bethesda to look and feel one way, and you want Rockville or Gaithersburg to look and feel different ways, well, design helps you achieve those goals.
We're a very, very well-educated county. We're very sophisticated in many ways. And really and truly, we deserve to have the best design possible. And this evening is an effort to really sort of raise the bar, to get people to think about great design by recognizing some of the wonderful projects that actually have been built in the county and seeing those as a precedent for the future.
In addition to celebrating design at the Design Excellence Awards, Montgomery's planning architectural historian Claire Lise Kelly was celebrated with the 2015 Key Medal by AIA Potomac Valley. Claire is the first female recipient of this prestigious award. We are proud of you, Claire, and your career of dedicated historic preservation in Montgomery County. Here's the recap.
I'm deeply honored to receive this Key Medal. Well, I have been researching historic sites in Montgomery County for 25 years now, and I've been advocating for their preservation. And Montgomery County has one of the strongest preservation programs in the country. So it's really been great for me to work here in Montgomery County, and I've worked for preserving historic sites and for protecting them for generations to come. And so it's really great to see the recognition of the importance of this work. It's a real honor to receive this award. There's such a distinguished roster of folks who have received the Key Medal, and so it's a real honor for me.
The Planning Department's Montgomery Modern initiative has included a bus tour, bike tour, and now a new book. The initiative is intended to raise awareness about the significance of mid-20th century modern architecture. Our Montgomery planning team was there to cover the event.
Well, I could not miss this. This book coming out is really a very special event. We've been studying all of Montgomery County's history, and we seem to stop it in the early 20th century, and this really fills that gap. And it's so much of our history and so much of our architecture, so much of our world today. It's just really important to have it analyzed, to have it photographed, to have it researched, to have it understood, and then I hope that'll take us towards preserving it as well.
So today's the book launch of Montgomery Modern, and it's a book about mid-century modern architecture in Montgomery County. I'd like to raise awareness about the value of mid-century buildings. I think there's an idea that if a building is around 50 or 60 years old, that maybe it's getting dilapidated or it's time to replace it with something shiny and new. But I'd like folks to really think of mid-century as a historical period and a period worth understanding and maybe thinking about restoring buildings from this time period and in some cases retrofitting, finding a new use for buildings, and that they tell an important part of our history, of our cultural past, and that they're in many cases that they're worth preserving.
I'm really hoping that as people read this book and they learn more about mid-century modern architecture in Montgomery County, they come to appreciate this architecture and they support preserving the best examples from this period so that future generations can also appreciate the important architecture of this period.
I'm hoping that it will highlight to the readers who might pick it up the fact that not only do we have great architecture in the county, that sometimes it goes unappreciated, but also some of the work of our agency, and to remind people that we are doing really exciting things to help document our history, and as well as working hard to try to plan for the future.
I think Claire said it very well, that because we're all of the age where we grew up with these structures, we don't consider them very architecturally significant, and they actually are. It's just that we are sort of in the midst of it and we don't recognize it. So I think it's great that she highlights the importance of this, and hopefully we can work out a way to save some and in the way we approve projects. So I think it's a great effort.
Everyone wants the county to grow and prosper, but we need to support that growth with adequate schools and roads. The Montgomery County Planning Department is now planning for growth and setting the rules for providing infrastructure with a subdivision staging policy. We attended the kickoff meeting, and here's what we learned.
Really glad you all could be here this evening.
We're going to be taking a look. Are we really measuring the right things, especially in terms of transportation? We have a greater focus with infill development on transit-served areas, and how are we measuring our ability to provide transit infrastructure for new development as well as roads. And so that's a bit of a change.
Every 4 years we take another look at how we go about paying for infrastructure like roads, water and sewer, schools, other facilities that the public needs that go along with private development that happens in the county. So this is our opportunity to recalibrate and make sure that we've got it right, try to fine-tune things and improve on the way we've done it before.
So our neighborhood is very concerned about development in the area, specifically the WMAL field that is right in our neighborhood. So we're just here to see how the planning board is going to accommodate the infrastructure that's needed for not just that development, but lots of the development in the area.
And I think we're all concerned about traffic congestion, and we want to look at some realistic and practical short-term solutions to solve some of our transportation problems.
We've got to remember that the schools are the reason that people come here, and they have to be top-notch.
They're not comfortable about where we're going to go forward, particularly if the emphasis is more on how I increase development rather than how I protect and preserve quality of life and have development fit in with that. And I think there are ways to do both, but I think that how we do things, how we go about getting there, is going to make a big difference whether we're successful or not in preserving quality of life here.
So this policy is a great opportunity to look at those rules. Now, to be clear, those rules are placed on new development. So the subdivision staging policy can only do so much. We'll reevaluate what those rules are, and it can influence new development. But we understand that the growth in our schools and the capacity of our transit systems are really influenced by several things. So while we may only be changing rules for new construction, it'll still open a dialogue for how do we plan for future development and growth.
In every show, we feature Planning Board Chair Casey Anderson. In this edition, Chair Anderson asks the questions instead of us of longtime Montgomery County resident and advocate, former council member David Skull. Chair Anderson and Mr. Skull had the opportunity to meet at the historic Mrs. K's Toll House on Colesville Road to talk about the history of planning and politics in Montgomery County and how Mr. Skull's family was pivotal to the creation of the county that we call home today.
The story of how Montgomery County came to be can be traced back to one family, the Lee family. The founding of Silver Spring, even the start of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, all point back to generations of Lees. Montgomery County Planning Board Chair Casey Anderson wanted to learn more about this family and its influence on the history of the county, so he arranged an interview with attorney David Skull, a former county council member, civic advocate, and part of the Lee family. Mr. Skull met with Chair Anderson at the historic Mrs. K's Toll House on Colesville Road to talk about the history of planning and politics in Montgomery County and how Mr. Skull's family was pivotal in creating the county that we call home today.
That's it for this edition of Plan-It Montgomery. You can learn more about these projects and plans by going to montgomeryplanning.org and connect with us online on Twitter at Montgomery Plans and on Facebook at facebook.com/Montgomery Planning. I'm your host, Michael Brown. Until next time, we'll be planning Montgomery.